It's a slow rollout, but we're reaching out for every opportunity to get the word out.
Thank you. I know the timer says I have more time, but I think I got additional time, so I'm going to stop and turn it over to Senator Ernst.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and a big thanks to all of our witnesses that are here today. We really appreciate your testimony. Mr. Rhodes, we'll go ahead and start with you. Thanks for joining us again. Really appreciate your testimony, and thanks for sharing your experience with federal contracting as well. And you mentioned a couple times how the Entrepreneurship Expo and the Papa John Center's Veterans Entrepreneurship Conference were helpful. But what are the main deterrents or barriers to entry facing small businesses seeking to break into federal contracting in your experience?
Ranking Member Ernst, thank you for the question. From my experience, it's the process to get started is very, for small businesses, our biggest resources is our time. And when you have to sit there and understand the language and what is needed and gather those resources to apply, it's very hard on our time. And that's where we've benefited a little bit with the Apex Accelerator. We had somebody that was able to eventually sit down with us and walk us through that process. But to be honest, if I did not have that person, I believe that I would have probably given up on the government contracting side at that time.
Wow.
So that, I think that is the biggest barrier. And then the other one is, once you get into it, is the bidding process. It's very unfamiliar what happens next, of what the steps are to do next, and if you are awarded a contract, where to go from there and things like that. So clear direction or somebody to kind of point you in the right direction.
No, that's really good. And it's probably not surprising to you that I've maybe heard those same comments before. And I know I saw Colonel Green nodding his head as well. And Tim, if you have additional comments that might build upon what Dustin had shared as well.
Thank you, Ranking Member Ernst, and thank you for your service. Federal contracting is really, challenging, I can say. One of the things that were written up in Institute for Veteran and Military Families report was the challenge with certification. We took that one head on. We simplified the Vet Cert program to make it easier, faster. So that's one small piece. The other thing is training. We do have a little bit of cumbersome. It's a learning curve that is a challenge, and we do provide some funding to the Veteran Institute for Procurement, and Mr. Cardin, our Senator Cardin's very aware of this program, but they do have training for those that are looking to, existing businesses that are looking to grow into federal contracting, increase their businesses. And I know after the first year of their program, they're looking at about a 56% growth after 1 year in the Veterans Institute for Procurement. So I think that program has been very successful for us, and we've been investing and promoting that program across the country, and I know they've had attendees from every state participate in that.
Great. No, thank you. We need more of that. And for Ms. Shimkat as well, thanks again for being with us. And in your testimony, you had highlighted the resource disparities impacting veteran small business owners and entrepreneurs in Iowa and across the Midwest. So two-part question. What can SBA do to better provide outreach and support our veterans? And would you be supportive of enabling SBDCs to host Veterans Business Outreach Centers, because you mentioned the sharing of capabilities?
So let me answer the second part first. Having an SBDC host a VBAC, absolutely. For many reasons. We spend a lot of money on databases, for example, to be able to get information so when somebody does start their business, we're minimizing that risk. We are helping them figure out, is there a market? Is there somebody that's going to buy it after my family and friends buy it? Will there be somebody else? And that's what we already have access to those databases. We're already paying for it. And so to be able to start right there, that's saving some money on that aspect. Another one is we're already out in the communities. And for anyone who's lived in a rural area or from a rural state, it's trust. And in the rural areas, having somebody, that local person, because you could have like a VBAC where they come in, they work with them, and then they go back to where they are housed. But the SBDC and other resource partners are living in that community, and that is crucial. For SBA, for better outreach, a couple things that we could look at is, and Colonel Green, retired Colonel Green, spoke earlier, and I offered to speak with him after this so we could talk about, let's pull some of these resources together instead of having so many programs in silos. We do this, and here's our metrics. Guess what? We're doing the same thing. Now, there are many entrepreneurs out there that we need to still get to. We can't do it all as small business development centers. They can't do it all as VBOCs, but working together, we can have a larger impact and really reach more of those. So I hope that answers your question.
It does. Thanks so much, and I yield back. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Cardin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Let me thank all 5 of our witnesses.